Hello everyone, I'm Brian and today I'm going to be reacting to Why So Many Paths in Hindu. So this was suggested, I think it was because I asked and I was a bit curious into Hinduism, and in my last video there were some comments. I did get a chance to read some of them but not a chance to reply, and it confirms that there are many paths, which at least with some of the ones seems like they're contradictory to each other, which is kind of weird. So I hope he kind of explains that and why is that. So let's go ahead and get started.
श्रीभगवानुवाच
I have closed captioning on just in case I want to read and follow along at the same time so I can understand, just in case I miss something. Hopefully I won't pause too much. So is this like a prayer for the beginning before starting?
Lokesmin, Asmin Loke, in this world. Hi, Arjuna, don't misunderstand. I did explain in the previous discourse the path of karma or service the society, at the same time the path of contemplation. This is not that I have been talking from my own intellectual, as my own personal intellectual theories. I am not the author of what I said. I was only quoting from the great scriptures, the Vedas. Asmin loge, in this world, pura prokta, from time immemorial.
I will say this. Reading the closed captioning, it looks like it's Google that's doing it, and Spin Loki. I'm like thinking, what does the Norse god of mischief has to do with this? So I hope it doesn't confuse me too much. But there's gonna be some times where when he says something, I guess like, is it this or is it that? And then when I read the captions, like, okay, it's this. I hope I don't get too confused with the translation here or the closed captioning here.
Ah, Asmin loge, in this world,
Oh, it is Loki. Loki.
Dvita Nishtha, two paths, have been advised from time immemorial.
The translation actually pretty good. So
This is not a new theory that I am propounding. It's not Krishna theory that he is giving out. It is the most ancient path that has been shown by all the great rishis of yore, which have been recorded in the timeless textbooks of our scripture, the Vedas, like two paths. This is a thing that the Semitic religions can never understand. The West is really confused. In all other religions, mainly all religions, there is one God, one book, one way.
yeah, that makes sense to me. But then again, I did grow up around. I mean, my understanding of religion to be that. So that's why I am curious about the many different ways of Hinduism or paths, many
This
paths.
alone the Semitic religions can understand. There is a Quran, there is an Allah, and there is one textbook or path of devotion to Him.
Well, um, while like Christians and Catholic and Baptists and all that all kind of believe in the same God, but and maybe even Islam as well. I think I don't know if Islam and Christianity and the Western religion with the Middle Eastern religion, I think they may believe in the same God, or they're both the same God because they all I think come from Abrahamic religion. Uh, but I will say this: there's different books. So basically, if you're a Baptist and a Christian, I think the books are a little bit different in how you're supposed to live your life. So while they all like Christian, Catholic, Baptist, uh, born again Christian, I'm not exactly sure. There's so many so many sub religions, I guess. I don't know if all their books are all the same. I know most of them believe in the same God. I know most of the books are probably going to be mostly the same, but I don't know if it's going to be exactly the same. The paths can be different. So I think a Baptist, you have to be baptized to wash away your original sin. Whereas a Catholic and a Christian, if these are separate things, but if they are separate things, you don't. You just ask for forgiveness in the church. So again, a different way going about it, different, I guess, different ways to be forgiven. Roughly the same book, but still there's slight differences, and even within the Western religions.
In Christianity, the same. But when you come to the East, the poor Western students get really confused. It's not their fault. They have been traditionally, from the lap of the mother onwards, they have been taught only that there is one God, one way, one book.
And I think the reason why for that is it goes back in history. I think this is my theories here, is because you have to have everyone on the same page. You cannot have deviations or different theories because it could end up splitting your tribe. So basically, it's like, oh, this is the way to believe in God, and everyone must believe in it. If someone else says, no, this is the way, well, your once 1 million population has now been split in half to 500,000 to 500,000. And if you ever were ever to be attacked by an enemy, your other 500,000 might not support you, and you could, that one 500,000 population can end up being wiped out. So it's I think it's very beneficial for everyone to believe in the same thing, so when everyone will fight the same thing. That's just, again, my theory on it. Let me know if you disagree or agree in the comments below with everything I say. Honestly, if you disagree with anything and you want to say something, please do. I'd love to read it.
When you come to Hinduism, many gods.
And mind you, it's not to mean that because they split up they wouldn't fight or help each other. It's just that it becomes a little bit more difficult.
Confused. What is the way? Every individual has got his own personal yoga. As many ways as there are people. Acha, who is your prophet? It's not who, but it is a whole population of prophets, because all the rishis.
Gotcha.
Which is your Bible? I will show you. If you can come with me, I will show you. Why? Library. Rooms and rooms of, and shelves after shelves. All these are our scriptures. All right. If this is your scripture, who is the author? Muhammad, Muhammad had a revelation, and he recorded them. There is a Quran. Jesus expounded, and the disciples wrote it out. There is a Bible. Buddha discussed all his lifetime, and after his time, the disciples sat together and collected all these from their memory and recorded them. There is a scripture. Who is the author of Hinduism?
Okay, so basically what it's saying is that, I guess because of these prophets, this is the way that you're supposed to live your life. But I think in Buddhism, Jesus, and I'm saying Jesus, in Buddhism, I think it's a way of life. How you're, well, I guess technically how you're supposed to live your life. But it's not to say that, in order to get to heaven, though. That's the thing with Buddhism. At least one of the sect, I believe, is that, in order for you to, I believe, not feel so much pain, this is the way that you should live your life. It's not like very hard rules. Then again, I barely touched on it, but this is how I pulled from. That's why I kind of was really drawn to it, was just because it's I guess the overwhelming the thing that I got the most is that life is suffering. Even though we don't see it that way, it generally is. Every day we're dying. That's kind of morbid, but it's true. every day we're closer to death. Every hour, every minute, every second. That's horrible, but it's the truth, and we don't ever think like that, you know. And then one thing that stuck in my mind with that teacher again, it was a world religions class. I believe, if I remember correctly, I believe the teacher was a woman. I think she was from India. I remember she's wearing what looks like Indian clothing, and I think she had a a marking on her forehead as well. And she was teaching it. I took it in college. Um, but for some odd reason, I can't. The only thing I really remember was again Buddhism. It just for some odd reason just stuck out so much for me. And the example she gave about life being suffering was birth, childbirth. I was like, what? Suffering? That's supposed to be a happy thing. But then you think of, I guess the uh, the fact that giving birth to the child is painful. That is suffering. Anything causing pain is suffering. That doesn't mean that there's not a good reward or it's not a good deed. It's just that it is still suffering. Raising the child is suffering. You having to work to pay the bills. You you having to work to buy a very nice car. Materialistic things. So, and whenever I heard that, it was just like, wow, that was kind of an eye opener for me, I guess.
I will tell you, but you are all very scientific minded people. I am an illiterate. Could you tell me who is the author of physics? What a question you are asking, Swamiji. You may be an illiterate fellow, but don't exhibit your illiteracy. There is not one author. Many, many scientists were trying to discover the beauties of nature, the powers, the phenomenal powers.
That's actually an interesting way of looking at it. That's a very good example. Whenever I guess someone asks like who I guess whenever he asks who's the author of physics, physics is there could be multiple ways of looking at it. There could be someone who writes a physics book, which there is one author, generally speaking. But in terms of science and discovery, there are multiple people who does multiple discoveries, and there's no one person that discovers everything. And I think that's what he was more pointing at. Is the fact that sorry about that, I got interrupted. I got a call, and weirdly enough, I didn't put my phone on vibrate. Okay, so I kind of forgot where I left off at, but it was more along the lines about physics, about people, physicians, not physicians, physicists contribute their knowledge to a single solitary book, though, I will say that. So basically, the book of physics is everything that we understand of physics. Everything is based on living that one path of life, though, I will say. Um, but there's many contributions to it, contributions to this physics. So basically, I forgot where else I was going with that, but yeah, there is this, I guess this law of nature that we're trying to discover. We don't know all the laws yet, but it all goes to one book. There could be many authors, but it's the authors in a sense. It's not to say that they are creating new physics or discovering new physics. They're just compiling everything into one book. So physics itself is in a sense one book. It's just that many authors explain it differently, or maybe they explain it in different ways that other people can understand and other people can't. So having many different physics books is a good way to get, I guess, as many people to understand it and read it, because not everyone understands the same things. And also, it's probably very difficult to understand all of physics in one book. So you have to kind of chop them up in little pieces, and that's the reason why you have different people having different authors about the physics book. I hope that comes off clear. Probably not, but I hope it did. So there is one book of physics, many authors trying to explain physics, and because physics is very difficult to understand in one grasp, and also there's many contributions to physics of what discoveries are.
And each one discovered a certain aspect of it. All of them put together gives me my total picture of the universe around, and therefore physics is not one person's authorship. Many people have
Oh.
contributed. All
Yeah,
of
yeah,
them
yeah.
are authentic scientists. We respect and revere every one of them. Is it not? In the same way, Veda is not the opinion of one individual. It is not Buddhism, Christianity, Mohammedanism. It is the science of living. The scientific conclusion of
that
a
makes
greater
sense.
and a larger truth behind this phenomenal world of constant change of names and forms. Therefore, all these great rishis who sat in the various peaks of the Himalayas during about 10,000 to 20,000 years, and each one in his contemplation discovered the beauties of this and declared them. All these declarations are valid declarations, and they are all compiled together, becomes our Upanishads and the entire Veda, in fact. So these two parts.
Translate India Vader. I think of Darth Vader in there and all our punishes. So I didn't understand what he said, and then when I tried to read, I'm sitting there just following the words, so I'm just basically focusing on the subtitles there. And so when I hear something, I said, I didn't know what he said, but I'm following as it's coming up and like punishes. It kind of sounds like that, but that doesn't make sense. Indian invaders or India and somehow Vader. I don't know what Vader is though, except for Darth Vader. So
Have been given out in the Vedas from time
Vedas.
immemorial. It is
Okay.
not my contribution at this moment. I was not giving out this theory to win a point over your discussion, in our discussion. Hey? Why is it the two parts? It is only to suit different types of people. Supposing I start at Chinmaya University, I can run my university in my own bedroom. If there is only one path in my university, only higher mathematics, how many students will be benefited? People who are fit for higher pursuit in mathematics are very few, maybe 10 or 20. My entire university will be able to serve only 20 people in the community who have got that inclination or interest, taste for mathematics. Music, maybe 100 people, because even those who don't know music, they sing. I mean, it's a question of whether you have got a shame or not. That is the point. You see? So 100 people make up. Even my university, there are 20,000 students. Why? Very many disciplines are available in my university. History and geography and zoology and physiology, and the latest is computer science. What a rush! Because there is
computer science. I guess that's kind of weird how he kind of pointed that out and just did like that. It's like some mythical thing.
nothing to study in it. It's a glorified typing. So more people will be benefited. All of them will become graduates because all subjects are available. Why is it that some persons are taking only this subject and that subject? According to their own taste. All of them are not of the same. Much more so in the spiritual path. If you say that all of you mass on Sunday between 8 and 8:45 is the church time, you must reach, meaning at 8 o'clock devotion must come. 8:45, close it down for the next 1 week. Love and devotion cannot be maintained that way. And there's only one path: surrender, devotion, love. Supposing I have not got it, what do? There must be many paths in order to suit the taste of many people. Supposing, please understand, it is supposing. I invite you all. Supposing. Don't jump into the conclusion. Supposing I invite all of you for a banquet tomorrow night. Huh? And I am sincere. I want all of you to enjoy. Should I not order to create
That translation was bad.
dinner wherein various things are to be made, with chilies, without chilies. South Indian cooking, varieties of South Indian cooking, isn't it? Non-vegetarian, vegetarian. Because in one place, pure vegetables, fresh vegetables. At the other end, dead bodies in various condition of decay. Is it not?
Hey, vegetables decay too, mind you. Anything living does decay, so vegetables decay too.
Why? I want every one of you to enjoy. Think. Not that I create only one item and 2 vegetables and everybody must eat whether you like it or not. That is not the way to serve large number of people. In the tongue, the tastes are different. If in your tongue the tastes are different, do you know in your emotional nature, every individual is unique. Like you, there is nobody else. The way that you think and feel is totally independent of all other people. So if there is a massive religion, one way, one goal, one book, one path, I tell you, a few will go in that path, others will follow because there is no other way escape, but they will not get themselves involved. In India or in Hinduism, from time immemorial, these 2 paths have been advised. Jnana yogena sankhyanam. Jnana yoga, the path of contemplation, meditation, of philosophy, of intellection, meant to suit the needs and demands of the intellectual type of students. Sankhya, who always asks for why. So you must tell him all the causes, rational, logical, step-by-step thinking process, and say the conclusion. Make them understand. Because there is a demand in the intellectuals, they want the explanation for everything.
I will say that's me. I'm going to say I'm an intellectual, but I do want explanation.
Karma yogena yoginam. And those who are restless at the body level, to them, karma yoga was advised. So service of the society, rising above your ego and selfish desires to serve the world as you are serving the Lord Himself. This karma yoga has been advised for those people who are restless at the body level, cannot sit quietly even for a moment, very dynamic people, and those who are highly contemplative, thinking type, questioning everything to suit their temperament. The path of jnana was advised. Thus these two paths are not. The path of contemplation and the path of action are to suit the two different types. And Arjuna, you are a man of action. You are an army guy. From childhood onwards you have been trained for it. And therefore you better now, you have fit the path he is now.
Sorry, the translation is getting bad. But I understood what he said, and then the translation was just awful. So now you have pizza parties, but it said now you have pick your parties. Pizza parties, you can see it. Whew, it's getting a little hard whenever it goes off the scale like that. But I understand. I mean, the weirdest thing though is that I pause it because I want to make my point, just as well to make my point then before he goes on to a different topic. Because I didn't watch this video, so but he ends up explaining what he says. I'm like, oh well, if I just waited, but I don't want to wait because I don't want the topic to change just in case.
The path of action, the path of serving the society. See that? Thus there are these two paths open from time to time. I did not explain to you these two paths to confuse you, but even though you are accusing me that I have confused you. No, I have not confused. This is the authentic means or paths that has been prescribed in the Vedas. Continue.
Okay, so oh man, I definitely gotta watch more of this person. And also, this, yeah, you can see my mouse highlighting this area here. So I am now curious about what is this? Intellectuals is saying is the I, and then something to do with bodies with the B. So now I'm kind of interested in this. So I definitely got to look up more about this guy and watch more of his things because it's very interesting for sure. Again, this is the kind of stuff that I am genuinely interested in. Not so much like other things. Well, I'm interested in a lot of things, put it that way, but this one more so. I'm quite interested in Hinduism. I won't say I'll be a Hindu, but what I'll do like I do in Buddhism is probably, I guess, whichever I can relate to the most, but I just pick out life philosophies and ways to live a life, really. That's the way I guess I pick and choose the things I like, which is I guess very much what he's saying is the fact that there's whatever you want to pick up on Hinduism, you can do it, which is what I do. That's so weird. Wow, it's honestly wow. Honestly, wow. He opened up my eyes about about the fact that Hinduism, like again, like I said in the very beginning of this, is about in religion, at least the religions that I'm more familiar with. There's one book. I kind of said there's one book, one guide, and one way to live the life. But under Christianity, or I'm not again still not too familiar with religion in general, but I know there's subsects of different things like Baptist, Christian, Catholic. I don't know if they're subsects or subsections of each other. Like underneath Christianity, you can be a Baptist or something. I don't know what the tree or branch or whatever that thing looks like, but generally speaking, between at least the one I'm more familiar with is Catholic, Christian, and Baptist. They all believe in the same God, but there's different paths to get under God's grace. And all of them, again, all those books actually have. Well, actually, they don't. I guess they all kind of contribute the same way he's saying, but there is like only one path to it. And then when he made the example with again the physics, while there is literally only one book to physics, and it is the fact of physics. So basically, when we discover something in physics, and we constantly question it, and if we cannot disprove it, it is fact until it is disproven. So, and that becomes absolute until it becomes disproven. But while there may be, like he said again, many contributions to it from different scientists and everything, and I guess that is actually a very good, very very good way of explaining if this is how Hinduism work. And I don't know who he is, so I mean I think it's Chinmay. I don't know like what is he in Hinduism? Is there like a title like again you got with Christianity you got your priest, then in Catholic you got like the Pope, and then you have his cardinals, and you have I don't know what else. I don't know what the again I don't know what the structure is like. I don't really follow religion, especially the Western religion, too much. I do have some understanding of it, but so I don't know what his role is in this religion. Is he just someone who believes in Hinduism and just wants to teach it? So he's basically just a teacher, and he's not telling you this is what you have to do, but more along the lines, this is Hinduism. Take it for what you will and live your life how you want, kind of teacher. So all right, so I think that's all I have to say about this one, and it's I am genuinely glad about this. Like watching this, the quality looks crap, but the content fantastic, and this guy amazing. I need to find out, is he still alive? And I would love, again, another thing I would love to go watch is like if he ever comes out and do presentations, but I doubt I'll be able to, because where I live there is no popular place for you to do your presentations. I mean, there's the population around where I live is really small, so you generally when you get people that comes from international or that goes touring around the country to go in like really high density population areas, and there's none over here. Alright, I think that's all I have to say about this one. I hope to watch more of these. Actually, it's very, very fascinating, and I appreciate everyone who leaves a comment, especially replying and helping me better understand. I definitely got to go back and reply and read at least the rest of the comments of the other video. At the very least, read them and reply to, well, whoever I need to reply to, because sometimes it doesn't. When you make a comment, it doesn't necessarily always require a reply, or sometimes I can't get to it, or sometimes the reply that I have is just so freaking long, because the people who write out their stuff really well, I feel they deserve a really well written out answer or question from me. So, yeah. Anyways, that's all I have to say about this. For real this time. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.